Hi, this is College of Circles, and I'm Jeff. Today, I'm looking at a booster brick from Phandelver and Below, the Shattered Obelisk, which I will now simply refer to as the Shattered Obelisk. Before we get started, I want to ask you to subscribe to this channel. As I reach certain subscriber milestones, I'll be doing giveaways of various WizKids miniatures, starting with that first milestone at 100 subscribers. Now, when I play Dungeons & Dragons, I make extensive use of my miniatures. My reviews are based on how well these figures enhance gameplay at my table, how often they are likely to be used, and how much do they add to the game when used. I use a 10-point scale, with 0 to 2 points in each of 5 categories. Those 5 categories are the details in the sculpt, quality of the paint application, how well the pose of the figure helps tell its story, how versatile the figure is, and how much the figure inspires me to want to create any gameplay with it. Most figures will get a 1 in each category, with exceptional traits receiving a 2, and traits that miss the mark getting a 0. At my table, I generally treat the figures literally. What the player sees in the figure is what the character sees in the game. Of course, these are all my subjective opinions and yours may differ. If you like this content and want to see more, please like, subscribe, and share. With all of that said, here's the figures. The Shattered Obelisk is the 29th core set in the Icons of the Realms line of Dungeons & Dragons miniatures from WizKids. The set consists of 47 miniatures, which are sold in a box of 4 random figures. A brick is 8 booster boxes, or 32 figures. Since the figures are random, you are likely to get several doubles. In this brick, I was happy in that I only had 2 doubles. The figures are either common, uncommon, or rare, with a likelihood of 3 to 4 rares in a brick. A brick has an MSRP of $159.92. A brick has an MSRP of $159.92. With over 30 figures to look at, I will keep my comments to a minimum. Good sculpt and decent paint. Looks like it has blood dripping out of its mouth. Mediocre paint saved by a creative sculpt. Teeth are missing, which is nice, guts hanging out, and broken limbs. These are all nice touches. Good paint with tattered, dirty clothes, and apparent fractured bone exposed in the arm. Looks like she might have been a rogue caught by a zombie. Nice spear through its throat, but overall sloppy paint job. A very standard, common figure. There are hints of nice details, but nothing is clearly defined. This is a significant upgrade in the sculpt from an earlier version of a Sturge. As much as I love to conjure Sturges, I'm not sure if this figure was necessary. Really nice sculpt with the transparent plastic, but little to no detail in the paint. I would be okay with an entire warband set of these. Simple but effective paint job and a strong pose. For a common figure, this is excellent. Very detailed scope, but it would have been nice to see the fur collar painted a different color than the rest of the robe. What more could you ask for? Good sculpt, good paint, great common tiny figure. A good sculpt, but missing a lot of detail in the paint. Kinda just a big gray blob. As a common wolf, this is probably the worst wolf I've ever seen from WizKids. The sculpt almost looked like a zombie wolf, which would have been much better. We have the first of our uncommon figures with a noticeable jump in quality. The first but not last time I'll say, look at the detail in his eyes. Excellent in every category. And again, look at those eyes. Another excellent drow and dynamic in multiple ways. Not quite as good as the other drow, but still better than most figures. Very versatile, could be used in so many ways, and has an excellent sculpt. I love how sickly this figure looks. It really captures the horror of a zombie. Doesn't quite have that zombie look as others in the set, but that means it has more versatility for players to use. Halfling luck, takes an axe to a head and keeps coming. They cheated a little in the face paint to give us this size shield. Our first large creature, and there are so many cool details in the sculpt, starting with those Wolverine claws he has. Paint is great, and the only limitation on this creature is that as this creature type is a slad, it's just not going to get used very often. Not the most detailed sculpt, and the paint scheme is an odd choice. Perhaps it should be called an Underdark spider. However, the pose is standard for a spider. It's just a large Grick. Nothing special about this figure at all. Has areas with a lot of detail and then some areas without, but I like the paint job and the pose is great. This is a monster I'll find a use for. I once ran a several-month Mind Flayer campaign at my local game store and started off hinting at their presence by using mutated beasts in a forest, like a giant elk with tentacles. I love that we're getting some of these infected monsters and want more of them. Really good use of transparent plastic and contrasting paint. This figure is also very versatile and could be used as a fire elemental. Another mutated creature, and this one has such a great sculpt. And as good as the sculpt is, the paint is even better. Look at the ends of the tentacles and how detailed they are, painted to look like Venus flytraps. Our first rare figure, and although I like this figure, I believe some of the other drow have better details. Take note of her tentacle whip on her hip, nice touch. Yet another good drow in this set, but again, I think some of the uncommons were better. This is the second young amethyst dragon we've gotten in less than 2 years. The previous was on a huge base and came with Fizban's Treasury of Dragons. This one is the correct size for the stat block, but it doesn't offer anything new. Also, in my opinion, the figures in the adult dragon line are too big to be used at a table and are bigger than their stat blocks imply. I treat the adult dragons as ancient dragons, the huge dragons from Fizban's as adult dragons, and large dragons, such as this from Shattered Obelisk, are the actual young dragons. The next 4 figures did not come with the brick. I bought them separately, but I still want to show them. Yes! This is the kind of figure that makes an impact when the players see it, and really helps establish what is going on in the world. Gruesome, love it. You know, I probably meant to put the Nothic in my shopping cart, but I ended up with this. I usually try to avoid these types of set dressing figures, but as those types of figures go, this is one of the better ones. Now this one, I know I intended to buy. This is my favorite figure in the set, and it reminds me of Hermaeus Mora from Skyrim. This is a CR9 aberration, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to homebrew a deity for this figure. It's just too cool to use as a simple creature. Love the sculpt, but the paint seems too bright to me. When I think of a shambling mound, I imagine it to be more Swamp Thing. Now you could have fun though, having to identify all the creatures and objects in this sculpt. As core sets go, I am very impressed with the Shattered Obelisk. There are only a few throwaway figures like the Wolf and Sturge, and even they aren't bad for what they are. What I really love is how much the set expands what I can do with my minis, from a whole group of drow to the variety of zombies, and then the few mutates we get. I do wish we had gotten a few more mutates, but I understand WizKids may be constrained by what appears in the source material. Still, a mutated wolf would have been much better than the wolf we got. At $159.92 for 30 unique figures, that's an average of $533 per figure. Since most of the box sets are averaging $8 to $12 per figure, and the quality is not as consistent as these are, I definitely recommend getting a brick of the Shattered Obelisk figures. Well, that was my review for the Phandelver and Below, the Shattered Obelisk booster brick. What are your thoughts on this set, or my review? Leave your comments below. As always, I'm Jeff. Thank you for watching College of Circles. See you in the next video.